on the career with us. If any students are tuning in, please feel free to fill in the survey information found on the main website. You'll be entered for a $50 gift certificate draw, and it also helps us improve these spotlights.
All right. The career, I guess, that I'm going to talk about is will be in vehicle sales and in vehicle sales management, I guess. A little bit about myself. I am currently in the role of sales manager at Moose Jaw Toyota. I've been doing this vehicle sales for about 4 years now, and in a management role for about 2 years. What I do currently is I oversee the sales team, and what the sales guys are doing, what I'm helping them to do is to make sure that they are caring for the customers in the following ways: making sure that we're responding in a timely manner to questions. A lot of stuff is coming in now through email and phone calls, and making sure that people's questions are being answered and that we're getting back to them timely, that we're answering the questions also thoroughly and accurately, making sure they get all the information they need, making sure that they are being talked about their vehicle selection. That's a big one that is often missed, is that people will, about 40% of the people who come in to the dealership or send in an email or phone, actually only about 40% of them actually are on the right car. That means about 40% of them actually purchase the car that they're asking about. 60% buy something different than what they're asking about. So that will happen when people feel like, oh, my friend's got this car, I think it would be great, or I saw an ad or something like that. When they actually come to get in the vehicle, they realize it doesn't meet their needs for whatever reason. So vehicle selection has to be thorough to make sure, before you waste somebody's time and go through all of this talking and demonstrating and giving numbers and everything on a vehicle, make sure that it's actually the vehicle that's going to meet their needs. So that's a really big one. Payment solutions are offered, whether that's cash, finance, lease, money down, no money down, different terms, using Toyota's rates or using the bank rate. Offer them lots of options there, and then making sure that we're following up, whether that is, if they haven't bought the vehicle yet, they may have more questions, or after they have bought the vehicle, following up to make sure they don't have any issues and that they're looked after throughout the ownership process. We're pretty minimal for our equipment needs. Basically, obviously inventory, but and of course, like any any good company, I think if you're offering a product, you need to offer some service for that. So we do have a service center as well, parts and accessories. But as far as equipment needs for people working in this industry, really a cell phone pretty much will do it. Landline is good in case people lose your cell phone, they can call directly into the dealership and reach you that way. And we need computers just basically for tracking, but in all honesty, most of our stuff really can work right on a phone nowadays. So if you got a good phone, you're going to be set. That you can make it work with that. For our unknown duties, so what people might not think that that I will do now, talking about this more on the management side, is making sure that our inventory is ordered that will fit our clientele. For example, we have a store in Regina. Our Regina store does about 4 times the business that our Moose Jaw store does. However, our Moose Jaw store sells more pickup trucks than the Regina store. So knowing your clientele, knowing your what vehicles are out there right now that are leased that will be coming in, and that they will probably be buying the same vehicle again. So if I have 80 RAV4s out on lease right now, probably most of those people will replace them in a new lease with a new RAV4. So knowing that, trying to get that inventory, making sure that that's ordered and that we have that available. Tracking the promotions of other dealers. What are other dealers offering? What's Honda offering right now? What's Nissan offering? And just being ahead of that a little bit, knowing that, those would be our major competitors. And if there are competitors, what are they offering and what are we offering and where are we coming up short and where are we exceeding and what do we want to make sure that we're, reaching out to the customers for with that. Purchasing vehicles for our used inventory. We don't just take trade-ins. We also sometimes will go ahead and purchase vehicles. So that's something that I'm watching all the time to see what's out there and see what we can get. Reconditioning the vehicles. Everything that we sell comes with a warranty, so we need to make sure that we recondition these vehicles well. We need to make sure that that the customers are getting a quality vehicle for the price. Obviously, we want to keep our customers happy, but also we want to make sure that we're not getting stung later if we end up, selling a vehicle that we didn't recondition and we've got a warranty with this vehicle. We're going to be in trouble because they're going to come back. They're not going to be happy, but also we could end up with a big bill. I would rather recondition the vehicle and know that it's got, a $5,000 repair needed before I go ahead and sell it, because if it's not worth it, I might actually just let that vehicle go to auction and not even retail it, because it's going to hurt us in the long run, first for our reputation, but also we're going to have to fix this thing and it's going to cost us money in the long run. It won't be a profitable venture. Ensuring that accessories are available for customers. Lots of people, when they buy a vehicle, they want to add running boards, they want to add a tonneau cover, they want to add all kinds of different options. If we have those available, they will buy it from us. If they're not available, they will order them on Amazon or go somewhere else. So having those available not only improves profit, but also will help those customers to have an experience where they can pick up their vehicle exactly as they want, rather than having to make a bunch of trips back to the dealership. Other thing that I have to do, as a manager, making sure that our OH&S is up to date, employee records, making sure that people are, adhering to their schedule or taking time off only when they've earned it, making sure that, they've got the sick days if they are away, all that kind of stuff. Hiring people, unfortunately firing people, all of that stuff is added being a manager. The most rewarding aspects, I think, one of the things that I say to the team is that we're not selling cars, we're solving problems. People are coming to us because they've got some need. There's a reason that they need a vehicle. Some people it's more pressing, some it's not nearly as pressing, but everybody's coming in for a reason. And we want to make sure that we are solving their problems. And when people leave happy, getting the vehicle that is going to meet their needs, it feels good. People are happy. And personally helping the team grow, helping the team achieve their personal targets, their professional targets, seeing people buy their first house and all that kind of stuff makes me feel good. That's rewarding to see the team grow and develop, because a lot of the guys that we get will be young guys just starting out, and they're not sure, how this is going to go. Working on commission can be scary. Once they start to kind of see that this can be really rewarding, to see them develop is a rewarding aspect for me as well. Currently, there's a worldwide shortage in inventory. It seems like a worldwide shortage in almost everything. So that's an issue. People want to buy vehicles and they're just not there. New or used, it has changed things. But that can certainly be a challenge. Right now, it's definitely a challenge. People will see advertisements for vehicles, electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and they come in and say, I want to buy this vehicle. And, I have to tell them, in the current market, it might be 6 to 8 months to get it. In fact, I might not be able to get that vehicle at all. So that is, that's a stressor. That's a challenge. Obviously, there's the competition based on price alone. People will look at a vehicle and come to us and say, well, I can buy this, vehicle X, and it's going to be, people are a lot of times payment focused. So they'll say this one's going to be $250 a month, and you guys are, $295 a month. Why can't you beat that? So that can be tricky. But that's where you train the team to talk about what you're actually getting for your money. Price is not the only reason people buy. In fact, it is almost never the reason people buy. If price was the only issue, there would only be one car. There wouldn't be Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Mercedes would be out of business. Toyota would just make one car, and it would be the cheapest car we could make, and that would be it. So it's very rarely price alone, but customers often come in with that mindset, and that's where we go back to the vehicle demonstration, to making sure that the vehicle selection is correct, that they're getting a vehicle that meets their needs. Because if you're just talking about price, the customer will leave with a vehicle that may be the cheapest, but they won't be happy most of the time. So you have to make sure that they're getting what meets their needs and that the price is fair. The stigma is something with vehicle sales, that people believe that you're a millionaire if you're selling cars, and that's not the case. People believe that that especially with used vehicles, that you're ripping them off. So that can be something that can be a bit of a challenge. It's not really it's not the case at all, but it is something, and it's perpetuated. I see it on TV all the time. You see it kind of on both sides. If somebody's good at sales, then they kind of paint them as this shark. And, so if you're doing that as a career, sometimes people will judge you. I would equate it to being like an insurance salesman. They're like, oh no, he's an insurance salesman. He's going to try to sell me something. But that goes away pretty quickly. And as people deal with you, they learn that that's not the case at all. But it is certainly a bit of a challenge and can be a bit of a stressor. So having said that, your salary and benefits, your salary can range. Most people who aren't selling very well will be in the 40,000 range. And if you're a great salesperson, 300,000 plus, there are people who are making $300,000 a year selling cars. It just really depends on a lot of things, which we'll get into a little bit, but most of that is your motivation. One of the benefits that I didn't list on here, but is a benefit, is with most dealerships, you can get a demo car, which means you've got a vehicle that is going to be either brand new or close to new that you can drive. There's usually a small fee for that. And but what you're getting is a good, reliable vehicle. You are, not paying for license plates and insurance on that. So that's a pretty good benefit that, that people don't kind of think about. People think about getting a car at cost, and yeah, you can get that. But the reality is there's not as much profit as people think in cars. So to get a $72,000 truck for $69,000, well, that's not a great deal if you don't have the $70,000 to buy it. So we do have a standard benefits package. There's eye care, dental, your medicine, those things are covered. We have a 4% of our wages go towards a pension, and you get 3 weeks paid vacation per year. Everyone gets 2 days off a week, Sunday and one other day. Most choose to be off on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Traditionally, those are the slowest days, so you're going to have less traffic, less people coming in to buy. So those are the days that, you may as well not be there, because those are the days you're not going to make the money. Supports and professional development. For professional development, product knowledge is key. You really have to know what you're talking about. Today's consumer is very well educated, so almost nobody shows up without having done some research. They've looked on the internet, they've done a build and price, they've talked to people, they've watched videos. They come in with a lot of knowledge. They come in with a lot of misinformation as well. People will come in and I hear it pretty much every day. Well, I saw it online. The thing is, there's differences between the Toyota that they sell in Canada and the Toyota they sell in USA. There will be different options offered. There will be different packages. And if they see it, they believe that it's true. And they believe that, going back to the stigma, they believe that we're, telling them a lie because, we just want to sell them what's here or whatever. So there, you do need to really know, because you will be questioned. And so number one, you need to know because you'll be questioned. And if you don't know the answers, you will seem either dishonest or not that smart. The other thing is for the people who don't know what all the vehicle offers, you need to be able to go over those features, advantages, benefits with them. And to getting back to, we talked about price and competitors, you need to be able to explain why our product sometimes is more. Why having a better product costs more money and why it's worth it. So that's the one biggest thing. I recommend to people comprehensive reading about service and attitude. There's huge opportunities in sales, but only for those that are willing to chase it. You have to really go after it. And, there's a difference between sales and retail. Retail, you just kind of are standing there and somebody comes in, asks a couple of questions, you ring them up. With sales, especially something like a vehicle, it is the biggest purchase people will make other than a house. And you need to really know what you're talking about and really be able to serve them, give them all the information they need so they can make the best choice for them. IT support, I can see I made a small T on there, so it says it as needed, but that's IT. Again, we're simple machines, your phone. There are times when that works down or whatever. We do have an IT team that works. We have a video team that works with us that will do videos to, do little commercials for social media and whatnot. But that's just kind of as needed for, if you can do basic word processing and punch stuff into your phone, which most people can, you've got it for IT. We don't have any unions. There aren't any that I'm aware of. It's, again, being a commission-based job, the idea of, if I sell 25 cars this month and the next guy only sells 8, I'm not really crazy about us splitting that commission down the middle. So we each get 16 and a half. I guess thinking about, students are watching this. If you study hard and you get, 100% on a test and the person next to you doesn't study at all and they get 40, are you okay with both of you just getting 70? I would say not for us. So for us, we, there's not much, I think, room for that kind of a pay plan or union in us. But if you work hard in the car sales, you'll find that you don't necessarily need protection of a union. I know when I take days off, the only thing they ask me is if I'm going to come back. You work hard, they want you back. They're going to make sure that you're there. So it's its own job. It's its own job protection, I guess. Your work ethic and your production is its own job security. So, and about that, I guess, opportunities, sales is an extremely transferable skill. Everything of value is bought and sold. And I guess, not to argue with John Lennon, you can't buy love, but and not that that's not a value, but I'm talking about hard products. The machines that you're watching this on were bought. The machine that I am, doing this on was bought and sold by somebody. If it's bought, it's sold. There are efforts to do things like tenders, to just go for the lowest price and to kind of take the middle sales guy out of it. What happens is a lot of times you will lose service, and you don't think service is important until you don't have it. I've flown on discount airlines and just gone for the cheapest rate, and I don't do that anymore because it's been a nightmare. It's just not worth it. It can ruin your whole vacation. So if you're good at sales, and if you are good at getting people into the right product and having people be happy in repeat sales, it's extremely transferable. I have job offers regularly from people who buy from me. They say, you know what, if you ever want to come work for me, just let me know. I'll hire you right now. And those are other sales jobs. So you don't necessarily have to stay in vehicle sales. However, within vehicle sales, you can move up into sales management if you so wish. There's also a finance department where basically you do all the person that works with the banks, getting everybody funded, do all the leases, everything. There's a lot of that aspect of it too that works right alongside sales. So there is opportunities there. You can get into the service side of it. Working in the wash bay in helping to and to be a mechanic, into service writing, all of that stuff. There's lots of opportunity that way. If you have the right skill set, mindset, motivation, there are lots of opportunities. So you can. A lot of people go out on their own. Once they kind of build up a big clientele, people will come back to you. I have clients who won't work with anybody else. If I'm not going to be there today, they say, okay, that's fine. When are you back from holidays? I'll wait and buy my car then. So when you get good at it, like I said before, it is its own job security, and you can kind of extend this into all other areas of sales as well. Which leads, I guess, nicely into work-life balance. So when starting, the hours are long. It's a commission-based job. There's huge opportunity, but you got to be there. You got to be there to earn it. As you prove yourself and build up a clientele, you have more flexibility. Like I said, people will wait. They'll come back after my holidays to buy the car. In fact, I had a guy this morning. One of our young guys took the weekend off with we're doing this meeting right after Remembrance Day. So we were closed Thursday. He took Friday, Saturday off and was coming back from Calgary last night. Texted me this morning at 7 and said, I got in pretty late last night. I was thinking that would it be okay if I didn't come in today, because his day off is Wednesday. He said, if I didn't come in today, but I came in Wednesday. And I said, yeah, sure, of course, no problem. However, I do have a guy who is coming to pick up his truck today. And I was going to give that deal to you, get you to deliver the truck, and then, go through it with him and everything. And the sale would be yours. So that's going to be about $500 in his pocket. But I said, if, no pressure, but if you can't make it, I'm going to get somebody else to do it. And he said, yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry about it. And he's coming in, even though he's going to be tired. And so there is flexibility, but when you're starting, the harder you work, the more clientele you will have, the more flexibility you will have later. So at the start, the more you hustle, the more money you make. I would say when you're younger, don't take days off. Hustle, work hard, build up everything, bank your money, and then you'll have freedom on the other end of it. Currently, we mostly work days. There are some dealerships that are open evenings. We aren't, but we do take calls after hours. Sometimes we go in on days off or evenings or when we're closed. It just really depends, whatever the client needs. And you don't have to do that. But again, if you don't hustle, you don't earn. And if you don't earn, it's not much fun. Time off's available. Again, lots of people don't take it. You do get 3 weeks paid vacation per year. If you don't take it, you can just take the cash. A lot of guys do that. It just really depends. The work-life balance is really up to you. The harder you work, the more money you'll make. There's no set overtime, but again, the more you sell, the more you earn. So there's definitely incentive to be there. I believe very much in days off. I push my guys to take their days off. But I also understand that lots of times they don't want to. Once they get that first month where they make really good money, they start to say, yeah, you know what, having a day off, if I'm not doing anything, if I'm going to sit at home and, play my Xbox on my day off, I think I'll just go into work because, I might sell 3 or 4 cars. So I think that's all I had. I guess I'm not sure if you guys have any questions. I know some people will be seeing this after the fact, but we're open to that now.
Thanks, Dan. That was pretty good. I was just trying to think of anything that comes to mind that a kid might be asking, and just sort of, I guess,
Yeah.
how would they go about it? Like, do they just walk up to a dealership and say, hey, look, I'm interested in sales, and how would they find that opportunity to start?
Yeah, for sure. So to get started, in all honesty, is you can walk in with a resume. It's great. Some guys will come in and say, like, I'll start at I'll start by, moving cars around the lot and work in the cleanup area or whatever. And that works, I guess. I My problem with that is that I think that when you walk in and and you're a we call them a lot kid, a lot boy, you get seen as a lot boy, and you can kill it and you can crush it, and it does happen that guys. We have one guy who's we have 5 dealerships, and we have one guy who's the head of the parts area for all 5 dealerships. So he's very well paid. He has a big job. He has an important job. He started as a lot kid. But most of the times when you're seen as a lot kid, you're seen as a lot kid. And it sometimes that's not always the best way. I would say dress well, show up to a dealership with a resume. If you've got some references, that's really helpful. Things that you've done, if you've been a leader, if you've done some leadership stuff, then that'll help. It's a skill like anything else, and you can learn it. Don't let anybody tell you that, I don't think, that's not for you. It takes hard work, and if you work hard, you can do it. But yeah, starting, if you know somebody, that's really helpful to get in, have someone that can vouch for you, kind of thing. But just break the door down, come in, and don't be denied. Don't give up, because that's really important in sales. Is being persistent and keeping at it. So yeah, sorry for not a real answer, but there's not like a school really that you can go to or anything. It's just sort of, come in and, but if you've done some leadership stuff, I would really highlight that in resumes. Make sure that you have references that will talk about things that you've done. It's not always like I have 3 sales guys right now, and they're vastly different, and they're all doing very well. One guy is fairly new to the country. He's been here for about 5 years. And he has a pretty good community of immigrants that come to him. But he also does well with Canadian-born people as well. And he hustles pretty hard. I have another guy who's in his 40s, and he is not a person, that you would have thought in high school, this guy's going to be great at sales. But he has developed that. He works really hard on his product knowledge. He knows the vehicles when they come in. He spends a ton of time in them, and he knows more than the other 2 guys about the product, for sure. So he sells cars that way. And then I have another guy who's a young guy in his early 20s, and he's Mr. Personality. He's the guy you would think of that, oh yeah, this guy will be great at this. But in all honesty, right now he's in 3rd place. He's always 3rd out of the 3 for selling cars, even though he's got arguably the best raw skills. He's developing everything else. He does want to get better, and he will. But it's not all just natural. He's got that natural ability that's taken him certain ways, but he sees now that he has to work at the other stuff, and just being a good guy is not always enough. So.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that answer a little bit and just ask the question. So what is the prospect of a student that's, say, grade 12 right now, to find a job in sales? Is this something that you're seeing high school students come into, and what are literally the job prospects?
Yeah, people are going to need vehicles far into the future, and whether, there's a lot of talk of electric and everything else, but at the end of the day, people need vehicles. So vehicle sales for sure. But I would say, I look for a good employee. I look for a good person. So I would say if you can't, walk in and start working at, at the Toyota dealership or at the Chev dealership or wherever it is that you want, but you think that's what you want to do, I would start doing sales in something else. And I'm not necessarily talking retail, but I'm not knocking retail down either. Whatever job you're doing, you're already interviewing for your next job. So, if you're crushing it, if you are a linchpin, if you are the person that that when you say, like I say, when I say, hey, I'm gonna take some days off, and they start getting afraid and go like, oh no, like, well, you're coming back, right? Are you? I remember early on, about 6 months into doing this, I actually came in the one day, and I don't know what possessed me. Usually I'll wear, usually I'd wear a dress shirt, whatever, but I actually, wore a full suit that day with a tie. And then I went out for lunch, which I usually don't do either. And when I went to go for lunch, I said, well, I'm going to go for lunch. And the sales manager said to me, like, well, where are you going? What are you doing? Do you have a job interview? He was very concerned that I was not coming back. So whatever job you're in, you want to be a linchpin there. You want people to, be afraid that when you leave, they're not going to be able to replace you. That kind of reference to me when I'm looking for a guy, or sorry, I say guy, but male, female, it doesn't matter. When I'm looking for a product advisor, that's going to go a long ways. Like, you don't necessarily have to have sales experience, but you have to have the experience of like the person that wherever you are, they need you. And that will go a long way. Now, to walk in at 18, to sell a $70,000 product, sometimes that's tough because you won't get the respect from the clients necessarily, which means it'll be hard for, a sales guy to put you in there, but it can happen. I would say try it. To walk up, little things make a difference. I had a young guy come in the other day. We weren't hiring anyway. So, but he came in, he had a suit on, didn't really fit him very well. And he had white runners. You got to make sure you look the part head to toe. And not that I wouldn't have hired him just because of white runners, but it shows an immaturity. It shows a lack of understanding of what you need. And you don't want anyone to have any reason to kind of stop you at that front door. So I would say for sure, go for it, take a shot. But if you can get something in a related field, doing some kind of selling, advising, that kind of stuff, it'll be an easier transition for you.
Yeah, and I've always admired how when I go to talk to salespersons at a dealership, that their knowledge of the vehicle, like how is that something in the forefront if you were looking at a Toyota dealership to kind of really become familiar with their line of vehicles, and or even once you get the job, how is that? How do you get so knowledgeable about all that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. And some products are tougher than others. Like I know for Toyota, it's pretty simple, because most of our options, like the big stuff, like the powertrain, the safety features, most of that in Toyota is the same across the lineup. So whether you're buying the least expensive vehicle or the $20,000 Yaris or the $85,000 Sequoia, they all have the same safety features. So a lot of that stuff, once you learn it, the Toyota safety sense, then you know it. That's not always the case in a lot of the competitors. They will change. You only get blind spot monitoring if you buy the top of the line model. So it can be more involved with other dealers. With us, it's not bad, but Toyota has something called the Toyota University. So there is a monthly quiz that everybody has to do. You have to go on there. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions about the vehicles. And basically you can print that, then it tells you where to go find the answers. You go in there in the Toyota University, read the stuff, find all the information, watch the videos. There's Know Your Toyota videos. There's thousands of them that will tell you all about all the features, how they work. You'll go in there, watch those videos, find the answers, and then now you know a little bit more. So there's some kind of forced PD, but also that it's all there, so you can read it, you can watch videos throughout it, and really get up to speed on that. And you're absolutely right. It is extremely important that you know that, because like I said earlier, today's consumer comes in knowing a lot about the vehicles, and there might just be one little bit that they don't understand. They shouldn't know more than you. And sometimes they do, but they shouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. I'm not sure that there are any questions. There might be some more here, but thank you so much for doing this.
For sure, my pleasure.